In today's show, Tom Dundon, the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes and a pickleball enthusiast, has agreed to become the owner of the Portland Trail Blazers. He's buying the team and keeping them in Portland. So who is Tom Dundon, and what does this mean for the future of the franchise? Well, welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You're listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen. Coming at you mostly 3 days a week for August and September, but we're popping on here for a bonus edition of the show. It's available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Locked On Blazers, your team many days, because it's a bonus episode because we got big old breaking news. Tom Dundon, who is the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, an investor in Topgolf, and an enthusiast in the pickleball world, has agreed to purchase the Trail Blazers. The news was first reported by Sportico that Dundon was buying the team, later confirmed a couple other places, including by ESPN, where Shams Charania says that the sale will be for a valuation over $4 billion. I think the baseline for NBA teams was basically the Hornets at $3.5 billion. So with the Blazers being for north of $4 billion sounds about right. It's the right ballpark. The Allen estate has agreed to sell the team. Now, the actual closure of this sale will probably take a long time. As reported here first on Locked On Blazers, when the team was announced for sale, the anticipation would be that it was going to take 9 to 12 months for the process to be completed. Clearly, this is faster than that, but the closure of the sale will be sometime in the future. I think you can look to the Boston Celtics, where in late February, early March, they agreed to sell the team, and now we're sitting here in August, and the sale has not been yet finalized. So that's 4 full months later. So I would expect sometime into the season that this deal actually gets finalized. But it is the agreement to purchase the team is indeed in place. So who is this group buying the team? Let's get into that first. Tom Dundon is about to be 54-year-old, currently 53, but turns 54 in early September. A 54-year-old who owns the Carolina Hurricanes. He became the majority owner, bought 52% of the Carolina Hurricanes, and the rights to the RBC Center in Portland, RBC Arena in Raleigh for $425 million in 2018. He has been the now majority owner of the Canes for about 7 years. Shout out to my Hicks with Sticks there in beautiful Piedmont, the Piedmont region of North Carolina. He's also the majority owner of a couple pickleball entities, PPA Tour, Professional Pickleball Association, and the Major League Pickleball. And he is according to the Sports Business Journal, roughly 10% investor, 10% ownership stake in Topgolf. He's worked in the sports world. He has Dallas ties, went to SMU, and is currently based in Dallas, although he spends some time in Raleigh. And this is someone who's worked in the sports world. He's mostly been a real estate developer and worked in some other places. Like many billionaires, he got rich writing subprime loans. The story of him sort of making his first a bit of money was working in sort of a car loan space that kind of popped off, and then he's a very successful investor, turning some millions of dollars into some billions of dollars, and now he is going to be the owner of the Portland Trail Blazers. So that's Dundon. He'll be the what they call the governor now. It's just stupid language. He's the owner of the team. He'll be the acting owner of the team, the face of the team, and the majority shareholder as it lands. You've got to pay. It's roughly 20% of the purchase price, so we're talking like $1 billion to get in on the ground. You got to have to be the majority owner, and the ownership group will also include the Mark Czar, who is the co-president of Blue Owl Capital, and Shield Tile, who runs who is the CEO of Collective Global. These are venture capital type investment firm types, the people who have all of this money to make these purchases. We'll see what Czar and Tile and their level of involvement and part of sort of what they look like as a part of the ownership group. But it sounds like it's gonna be Dundon. So that's who this group is. But the most important bit of news here, now 5 minutes into this bonus episode, is that the team isn't staying. The team is staying. Whoa! The team is going to remain in Portland. That's the most important part of this. I mean, maybe to you, if you live somewhere else, you're rooting for them to leave. But the reporting at first from Sportico and now confirmed several other places, including by Bill Oram of the Oregonian, this is the plan is for the team to stay here. The question is, what does staying here look like? Because it is clear, at a minimum, there need to be significant renovations, or there will be significant renovations to the Moda Center. The Moda Center is the oldest arena in the NBA that has not undergone significant renovations. It's one of the oldest arenas in the league period. I believe it's 7th oldest, according to an interview I heard with Marshall Glickman on Oregon Public Broadcasting's Think Out Loud program. It is a functional arena for you and I, people who attend games, but for the ownership group, typically sort of the cycle is about every 30 years, these arenas get renovated or replaced, and typically when new ownership comes in, they want a new arena. They want a new, sort of a larger share of the pie in terms of luxury boxes and high-end amenities and things like that draw big dollars, per capita dollars at games. That is coming, one way or another. So one way it comes is a massive renovation of the arena, right? Is a several summer process, displacing the WNBA team, but a several summer process of massive renovations to the arena, or it is building a new arena entirely. And I think you can look to a couple places to kind of get a sense of what this might look like. One of the places that it might look like is in Salt Lake City, where they have a centrally located arena in sort of the downtown centrally located in Salt Lake City area. It's a little bit older. When they had a new young owner come in, they did not move the arena, although there was some conversations that they might. Instead, they made significant renovations. They got a hockey team. They did all this stuff, but that included a larger real estate play, a larger redevelopment of the area around it, of more of downtown Salt Lake City, or more of like, I don't think it's, to me, that's not downtown Salt Lake City. I've been there a lot of times, but like the sort of central business commercial area surrounding the arena, a larger real estate play. And then if you look in Raleigh, where Dundon bought the Hurricanes in 2018, there was some whispers that maybe hockey in the American South wasn't going to be the thing. See the Atlanta Thrashers. And there was some whispers that maybe the Hurricanes, once relocated from beautiful Hartford, Connecticut, would be relocated. There's some whispers they might move. But instead, the relocation rumors kind of died because the team was successful, basically immediately making the Eastern Conference Finals, and then Dundon in 2023 undertook a deal to extend the arena's lease 20 years up through 2044. There's a lease to remain at the arena. And then to redevelop the land around PNC Arena in Raleigh. It is not a big urban arena. It is out there, like just off the highway in the suburban sort of Nowheresville. But that area is certainly expanding. But it is not like a truly urban arena like in Salt Lake City or like we have here in Portland. But they're transforming the area around PNC, around this arena where the hockey team plays, into a huge mixed-use entertainment districts that's going to include restaurants and bars and hotels and high-end condos and places, everything, right? Like it's going to make this like a true campus, live, work, play type of campus. Does that sound like the move that you might execute here in Portland? Yeah, that sounds very similar. Renegotiating a lease for a long-term lease and then spending a bunch of money to redevelop the land around the arena. The problem is that Portland has some challenges, like some actual physical challenges with developing the land around the arena. One, the highway is right there. Two, Memorial Coliseum is there, and they're putting some public money for about $40 million into renovating that building. It's also on the historic register. As I understand it, there isn't like a ton of legal protections that would prevent someone from demolishing the Memorial Coliseum, but there's some loopholes. There would be some constraints. And when it was about to get torn down back in 2008, and there was basically got it on the historic register and preserved its lasting its lasting legacy, and also just like made it into a thing that is going to be harder to move in the future. And then there's just some like physical constraints where the Moda Center is located right up against the water. Right up against the water is this big rubber plant owned by the Louis Dreyfus family. That's they don't want to sell it reportedly, and you'd have to buy that and then develop that. And there might be some sort of environmental stuff associated with the big rubber plant. And then so if there is a larger real estate play, there are some constraints. It's possible. Tear down the Econo Lodge that's right next door. You could, there's the Portland Public Schools building that has long been rumored to be sort of a part of the redevelopment world. There's an agreement with the Albina district to sort of revamp that area in general. But I think what is true is that when these renovations happen, they often happen as a part of a larger real estate play. You can see it in Salt Lake City. You can see it with the now soon-to-be owner of the Trailblazers, Tom Dundon, what he did in Raleigh. This is what you want. And in fact, speaking of Marshall Glickman, who is the son of Harry Glickman, the original owner of the Blazers and part of this group that was working hard to keep the Blazers in Portland, he was on Think Out Loud last week, and he said that basically it is almost impossible to get a return on investment for billionaires if you have an arena without a district, a sort of entertainment district around it. Without a larger real estate play, you cannot get a big enough return on investment to make it palatable. So we will see what this means. But I think there are big hurdles to overcome in terms of what happens with the Moda Center. Is it going to be a massive renovation, which I think probably makes the most sense? Or are they going to try to relocate? Are they going to move up a little bit east to the Lloyd district and build this massive entertainment district that also has access via public transportation, which is kind of a need and could provide some parking areas as well as a place to develop a massive entertainment district? That's all. I think you can see, if you look closely, how this works, is that a larger real estate play in which many business interests can be placated to some extent is really the move here. You see when teams are purchased and teams don't move and teams stay in smaller markets. It's how you can maximize that sort of value. That's kind of bigger picture, long-term stuff. The team is staying here, and what it looks like we shall see. But I think the question is like in the immediate is Tom Dundon a good owner? Is this an upgrade? Let's talk about that in the second segment. Join me there, won't you? Before we do that, though, let's talk FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book, and also it's FanDuel Futures Day. August 26th, officially FanDuel's Futures Day. A brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL preseason predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week one even kicks off, this is your moment. So take a flyer on noble little brother J.J. Watt to win the MVP. Crown your champion in August. That's right, the Pittsburgh Steelers, America's greatest team. Or parlay your division winner dark horses in the AFC North, where the Pittsburgh Steelers will obviously be champions. Visit the FanDuel app today. Start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. All right. So is Tom Dundon going to be a good owner? Like, what does good ownership look like? The Canes have been pretty successful under his ownership. They've made the Eastern Conference Finals a couple times. They've shelled out some money to buy star players. They have built a sort of an analytics-driven team to be successful, and they've been a successful franchise under his watch. But to me, good ownership is it can be and should be measured by team success, because that's what you're building towards. It's an incredibly competitive environment, and it should be. There's 30 teams in the league, everyone pushing for the same thing. Obviously, some teams are more apt to just sort of like print money and be happy, but like being consistently competitive, maybe not championships, but consistently competitive is the mark of good ownership. But there's other sort of traits that you want to see. And there was a profile of Dundon written in May of 2024 in the Sports Business Journal. And it mentions that like Dundon doesn't even live in Raleigh. He early on, he would be in Raleigh more often than he was in recent seasons, but mostly he's not there. He's not someone who was like physically present at the games. He lives in Dallas. He's got 5 kids. He has other business ventures. And while he is deeply invested in the team, he's not exactly like right there front and center. but he is an absentee. The article in the Sports Business Journal has the following paragraph. In fact, Dundon is known as being among the most hands-on bosses in the league. He bristles at this characterization. I don't even live here, he says, but those he's closest to in the organization aren't afraid to say so. You name it, he's involved in all of it, said Rod Brindamore, who is the Hurricanes head coach. I don't think you have another owner in sports that's as involved in his team as he is. Oh, no. Oh, no. I think the number one thing that good ownership can do is hire the right people and get out of the way. There's almost no examples of a very hands-on, very involved ownership group having consistent success in the league. You need to hire basketball people, the right basketball people, and get out of the way. And then you need to make swift decisions. If those basketball people turn out not to be the right people, then you need to make good, smart hires and not just hire people who went to Michigan State. You got to hire the right people and get out of the way. That's number one job of good ownership. Then for me, it's spend money on infrastructure to make the team and the facility appealing and competitive. It's basically just like quality of life expenditures for players and staff. That's number two. But I think that's like such a deep number two after step one, hire the right people and get out of the way. If you are smart and you hire the right folks, you can do things like, say, the ownership group in Oklahoma City that just said, "Hey, Sam Presti, you're really good at this. You get to be in charge forever." Or even Steve Ballmer in LA, like when he got in charge, he basically, once he got Doc Rivers out of there and kind of moved on to truly his own era of basketball, he's like, they've been as successful as they've ever been, and it's just like, hey, Lawrence Frank, you run this thing, right? Hire the right people and get out of the way. And Ballmer's obviously very like involved, but not with the basketball day to day. And I think the same with the situation in Oklahoma City and Clay Bennett, right? It's like hire the right people and move. You look at in San Antonio, these are like the marks of really good franchises. You look at the teams that are messy, the messier teams. Look at the Knicks under James Dolan. Too much meddling. Look at the Kings. Look at what's going on in Phoenix. Too much meddling with new ownership. Hire the right people. Get out of the way. Spend money on infrastructure, quality of life upgrades for players and staff, because you're not going to sell good weather in Portland. You're not going to sell this like great giant multicultural city that's on par with Los Angeles and New York and even like say Atlanta. What you're selling is a great place to play basketball. And so to do that, it's quality of life upgrades for staff and to players. And then the last thing that a good ownership does is when the team is good, you pay the luxury tax to keep the competitive window open as long as possible. That's what you really want. You want someone who hires the right people and gets out of the way, spends money on the little things to make life better for people who work for the team. And then when you do build a good team, the willingness just to spend when you have a competitive window. It's not going to be forever, and the league punishes you for being too expensive for too long. But say you have a championship level team with Nikola Jokic, the best player that will ever play for your franchise. You don't cheap out and duck the tax the following 2 years and kind of like maybe skimp on the championship window. You say, this is our 4-year chance. Let's spend outrageously for 4 years. Let's be as expensive as possible, because once you're really good, having clean books doesn't matter. When you're not very good, the clean books is a tool to get better. When you are really good, spend as much money as you possibly can to stay good. That's the mark of a good ownership. Am I a little worried the hands-on comments in this sports business profile? I am. But from right now, in August of 2025, impossible to know what Dundon will actually look like as an owner. But I do think that the Blazers having a settled ownership situation and a settled situation where they're not leaving town puts them in a much better place. There are some questions about what a new arena or renovated arena will look like and how much money it's going to cost the public here, and how much like taxpayers are going to have to willingly pay, and all of those questions. And I think we will get there. And my personal preference about how much we should pay for billionaire palaces is like just a sort of side note to the larger coverage of this. We will see what the public-private ownership, because it certainly is going to be public-private ownership, agreement ends up being. We'll see what the plan is. Are they going to renovate the arena massively? Or are they going to build a whole new arena from scratch? And where might that go? If they do the second part, is it going to get messy in terms of public money and public financing? And once the arena stuff is scheduled, or squared away, what does the actual basketball stuff look like? What is Dundon like as an owner and a decision maker and a hirer? Who does he hire as a coach, as a GM? Does he keep the people involved? Does he bring in his own people? And what does that look like into the future? Those are all questions we will eventually answer, but that's going to do it for today's program. That's what we know. It's a bonus episode. We were supposed to do 3 this week. We still will do another one. The Blazers schedule is going to come out Thursday. On a Friday show, we'll talk about the Blazers schedule. But for now, that's what we know about Tom Dundon. Tell your friends about the program. Tell them they can get it wherever they get podcasts and also on YouTube. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.